everybody, and this is the final session of the conference. I'll try to keep it short and hopefully sweet, and you may get to see some visual effect. And before I get started, I'd like to quickly tell you that I will first introduce to you the concept of egoment grief, and one sample that my colleague Patrick Speary and myself quickly put together. And this sample is intended only for illustration. And as the sample happens to be Australian grief, I'm most delighted to have Ms. Stewart among us. As you know, she's our distinguished participant, and also she served as the excellent and valuable chair of the CIO forum at this conference. Now, before I get started with introducing of the concept and the sample, I'd like to just make sure that the sample which will be shown here contains some inaccuracies. And also, it may also contain some not very up-to-date information. And again, I'd like to stress that it's just a draft. It's not a final version or anything. And also, at the same time, I'd like to highlight that this is not a country economic brief. This is not a concrete project or initiative of UNDESA. It's an idea and broad concept intended to get general discussion started on some standardized presentations of the government situations across different countries in this region and maybe beyond the region. For quick comparison and easy reference. So, this is what I exactly just now told you. It's a very brief agenda. First, I'll demonstrate. We'll show you a sample Australian country economic brief. And secondly, brief explanation of what's really behind this concept. And thirdly, feedback and sharing of ideas with facilitation of Patrick. Okay, sample brief. So here it is. Okay, here it is, and this is how a sample brief looks. And again, I'd like to stress the fact that it definitely contains some inaccuracies, and the information may not be really up to date. But at least it may help us to visualize the concept. So this is what it's all about. So we thought, why did we think of creating a brief like that? And where does this initial idea come from? And we thought maybe this kind of brief could be useful and help enhance the policy-making capacity of government officials. And then the question would be, how, in which ways? And in our view, I think there are two ways. First, by using template and standardized presentations of e-government information across different countries may enable a more systematic or at least more structured assessment of e-government situations. And secondly, it may also enable each reference and quick comparison across countries. This is what we find quite important. For example, we can identify common development trends by asking such questions as which countries and how many other countries let's say in this region, have a policy on information privacy. Okay, now this is actually very important for us because choosing the right element of e-government template, brief template, is the most critical part. So we gave some thought about which elements would be very important and relevant. So there are some selections. One is policy and strategies. The other one is e-government officials and institutions. The third one will be laws and regulatory framework. And then key indicators, which means like how a country is doing in terms of e-government ranking, and the challenges, opportunities that a country may be facing in terms of e-government development. Okay, you have handouts in your conference binder. You will see actually the sample, but if you look at the sample brief, you will see all these 4 elements. So the first step of 4 elements, which structure a country brief, or in this case a sample, would be key indicators. That's what you see on the first page. And then strategic priorities. It's more like about policy and strategy. And the second set would be laws regulating e-government. This is more like legal and regulatory framework. And institutions and the officials, another important set of elements. So this is another set. The last set of elements that we thought would be very relevant would be conflict information and challenges and opportunities. I want to dwell on this so-called conflict information a bit, also based on my personal experience as somebody who provide substantive backstopping to this conference. I want to touch upon how difficult it is to identify somebody, so-called CIOs, or even e-government officials. In case of Ms. Stewart, her job title already contains CIO. So her job title, she is Deputy Secretary, but also Government CIO. So in this case, I can be very sure about including her name, job title, and the contact address. AGIMO, which is being headed by Ms. Stewart, has excellent, well-organized website information. So I could just take anything straight from there without feeling worried and unsure whether I could include the wrong information, whatever. In case of other countries, actually most of the countries, I know how difficult it is even to define what CIO means. Then I try to modify this by introducing the definition of e-government official. I was thinking of adding attributes like key or leading e-government officials. That is very arbitrary, and then that has a very serious implication. So if you put together like the conference program, and you want to kind of match participants somehow, then you have to be very sure about you select the right e-government official, not a general ICT government official. And I know some people whom I know, they will just list ministers, so ICT ministers as CIO. But if you want to have more like working level people who have still good expertise, or high-ranking people, Mr. from Brunei, who actually have this status at the same time real expertise, that's very hard. So I wanted to tell you how difficult it is, and to define first and how to collect the information. And because 60% of emails sent initially to all the potential e-government officials got bounced back. So you try to make phone calls and etc. At some point, to have the information validated, you go through UNDP offices, but the return rate will be 4 out of 50. And yeah, you go through a lot of process, and when you get here, you are never sure whether, unless you listen to the presentations, whether they are real e-government officials or just general ICT people. Sometimes you cannot separate, of course. Now, I want to just mention one thing. I found it quite interesting because once the participants get to know me as substantive officer to the conference, the very first question that they asked me is, how did you find me? So, of course, the first answer is online, but then online how? Is it just Google? Of course, I try to understand the organizational structure, but you don't know at which level actually this e-government official is based. For example, in case of Brunei, I had like 4 or 5 people. I don't know the relationship, the organization structure, the hierarchy among different officials. So for me, if somebody asks, you can reject the entire idea of what this means with group. This part I found quite useful. It's something very straightforward and yeah, but still it's not easy. Really, you have to start this definition at which level, like is that they should come only from countries. And if you conduct a desk-based research in New York, like me, and then you're about to make some mistakes, and I would think this part is this element is the area where you're about to make most mistakes, which matters a lot, especially if you put a program together, if you want to network with other government officials, if you don't have the right contact information, then it's very difficult. So that's my elaboration. And yes, now again, as a substantive officer, I just want to show a bit the relationships. How does this e-government concept fit together with the rest of the conference? So in fact, you have seen many of these core elements that I've listed just now throughout the conference in different sessions. For example, you've seen e-government officials and institutions in CIO institutional framework session, of course, and then we have the theoretical discussion and presentations on legal and regulatory frameworks. And the third one is actually which really directly connect or fit together with the country brief concept. So this session, we have almost like day-long deliberation on trying to understand country-specific experiences. And if you look at the papers that you have in your binder, you would recognize very similar structure. And the papers are very often structured around the same elements, institutional framework and regulatory framework, etc. And for me, in a way, initially I thought this has the potential of being transformed into 9 country briefs if it works. So it means actually country briefs can be like a condensed version of these 9 country specific economic experiences paper. And in fact, we have some excellent papers which squarely address these 4 elements and issues. So anyhow, this is the initial idea behind it, and I explained how difficult it is to identify the right elements, maybe the most relevant elements. And I want to just really emphasize that it may look very straightforward, like contact information, but it can be very challenging, and a lot of input might have to come from the country